Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany, this is the Brittany React Show, and on this show we talk all things entertainment news. We have a lot of fun, sort of fun topics to talk about, not a lot of huge things, but DC is still a mess. I mean, this is kind of an old story. I can't even feel like I can qualify this as a news story because I feel like every other week we have something to talk about with some new DC drama, so this is kind of old news at this point, but there's at least something. Hi everyone, hi Joshua Munn, hi Robert Bell, hi Alex, hi Jordan, hi I'm Kai, hi Nate, hi Alex, hi Jordan, hi Natanya, hi Slackjaw, hi Alex, hi everyone who is here, and thank you to everyone who comes here each and every day. So let's just get straight to the strike news. I just want to update you guys really quick because the writers have officially voted to ratify the new deal that the writers and studios agreed to with 99% favor, which just basically means that most people have agreed to the new deal and it's all set in stone, and this is just officially saying the writer's strike is done. Which I think is really nice. We all knew that they were gonna agree to this vote. Everyone would have been pissed off if they said no, so this is not surprising. But I'm just glad that the writer's strike is over. The actors are still negotiating with the studios currently, so we'll be hearing about something about a deal soon, maybe next week, hopefully. But it shouldn't be long now before we hear about what's happening with the actors' strike. Alexander, I can't even listen to Doja Cat anymore. She's just, all her antics have officially turned me away. There's a sound delay. Is there a sound delay for anyone else? I don't, if there is a delay, please let me know, because nothing looks odd on my end. Alright, thank you, Alex. So I just wanted to quickly update you guys on the strike situation. Now to entertainment news, which is where we have the bulk of our topics today. And we do have our member question, but that's going to be later. That's actually focusing on DC, so we'll get to that in a second. So the first thing I wanted to mention is that, I want to remind you guys, because this isn't really an announcement, because they already announced this ages ago. In fact, Disney announced this Tiana series at the same time that they announced all those 10 new Marvel shows and 10 new Star Wars shows way back in that investor conference in 2020. That day I think that aged really horrible in retrospect. But they announced the show 3 years ago, but now they're setting to release it next year in 2024. Now, the original voice cast is set to be returning. We don't really know a whole lot about the plot or anything else, but I am sort of curious to see what they do with Tiana. She'll be the first princess to get her own Disney Plus series, so I'm curious to see what they do with it. Anyone curious about this? Oh, I'm Kai says I have a bad feeling about this. Why? Raya Lynn says, I will say Agora Hills is worth a listen. I mean, I'm not even talking about... Why are we talking about Doja Cat? But I'm not even talking about Doja Cat's music. I'm just talking about, the personal stuff that she does and says online, wearing and promoting Nazism. I don't know. That's just way too many steps too far for me. Josh Loves Movie says, I hope Tiana is worth the wait. I hope it is, too. We've been waiting for, umpteen million years now. Anyone excited for this? Okay, I'm Kai is excited. Alex says Tina will be a part of Star Wars or the MCU. Maybe. I highly doubt it. I feel like that would have to be the ultimate act of desperation to cross the animated princesses with Marvel and Star Wars. That's never gonna happen. If that ever did happen, that would be a sad day, actually. Just a sad day for entertainment. Aaron says, I hope they focus on Tiana with different adventures like in the Little Mermaid TV series. Well, maybe they will do that. I have no idea. They haven't given us any details, so we'll find out soon enough, hopefully. Now, we do know at least that Joyce Sherry, who did Midnight Mass, will be the lead writer and director for the series. Um, I think that's sort of an odd choice for this. Midnight Mass is very different from a Disney princess project, but Midnight Mass, I believe, was a gangster film with Johnny Depp, and we will be talking about Johnny Depp later with the whole Aquaman situation, so stay tuned for that. Um, so I don't know. It doesn't seem like that would lead to her being a good fit, but I'm staying open minded. We'll see what she can do. Anyone familiar with Joyce Sherry, or did anyone see Midnight Mass? Can you say that it's a good movie at least? Um, Pokeraj says the voice actor behind Tiana was in a podcast with Kim Possible and Chelsea from That's So Raven on. That's hilarious. Oh, that's cool. I've been seeing a lot of Disney Channel actors from way back in the day popping up lately. I'm wondering if all those royalty checks are running out. Um, we'll be talking about Johnny Depp and how he relates to Aquaman in a minute, so we'll get to that. But moving on from Tiana, I just want to mention Loki, because I did watch the first episode. If you go back just a few videos ago, I told you my thoughts and what I thought about the first episode. I was surprised. I thought it was a strong start. Thought it was a lot better than a lot of other recent Disney Plus shows we've been getting. Way better than Ahsoka, way better than Secret Invasion, and that's all just one episode. So I thought it was actually a pretty good start. But what I think is interesting here is that it looks like Disney is obviously trying to spin that Loki is a much bigger hit than it is. Because if you really look into the numbers here, this doesn't bode well. This does not look good for Loki, and I'm about to explain why. So Loki Season 2 drew 10.9 million views worldwide over its first 3 days, according to Disney+. Now here's why I don't believe this number. Firstly, well, okay, I'm not saying I don't believe the number, but I believe that Disney is skewing the information to make Loki look better than it is. Because I actually think this is a really bad number, and I think this means that there's a huge fall off from Loki Season 1 to Season 2. Now, if you actually go to the article, this is the Hollywood Reporter, they even said that the first season of Loki averaged about 872 million minutes per episode, whereas this episode so far has gotten just 512 million minutes. So, I mean, it can't be exact apples to apples comparison, because I don't know how long the first episode of Loki was, but I mean, that's a pretty big difference, 512 versus 872. It looks like there's a big drop-off in audience between the two seasons, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, they say that Loki had the largest 3-day season debut of the year, or one of the largest. It had the second largest after The Mandalorian. Now, I actually think that's not as big of an achievement as they're making it seem, because look at what the competition was. The biggest shows that came out on Disney Plus this year, other than Loki, have been Secret Invasion, Mandalorian Season 3, and Ahsoka. So, if you're saying that Loki was the second best debut this year, you're saying basically it beat Ahsoka and Secret Invasion. That's it. That's the competition. And we both know Ahsoka and Secret Invasion both of those shows are not really doing very well, or didn't do very well. So, it's like, okay, yeah, it did the second best, but look at what it beat, And The Mandalorian Season 3 was actually a decline from in viewership from Mandalorian Season 2 and Season 1. So, in fact, I found a graphic here. This graphic actually comes from Dan Merle, who, I really like Dan Merle. He has his own channel. He made this graphic here. Just wanted to give him a shout out. But he kind of compared how Ahsoka is doing compared to other Star Wars shows. And look, it's only doing slightly better than Andor. And if you guys know anything about Andor, that show was considered a huge flop for Disney. And if Loki Season 1, Episode 1, or Season 2, Episode 1 is only doing a little bit better than Ahsoka, then that means it's down here somewhere. And Loki season 1, by the way, was the most watched Disney Plus show, which probably wouldn't even be on this chart. It's probably even higher than Mandalorian season 2. So that just shows you that there's a big drop off here from season 1 to season 2. So they're trying to make it seem like this is like, you know, a huge deal or whatever, but I don't know. I see through it. Okay, Star Film Studios says you never saw Loki. Who has never seen Loki? Have you guys even seen these shows I'm talking about? Lucario Mew says, that made me lose interest in any sort of sequel. What made you lose interest? What, people aren't watching? Oh, Crystal thought Loki wasn't that bad, but some people never watched it. Okay. Josh says, Loki Season 2 beating Secret Invasion views is just one episode. It's so satisfying. True, I mean, if Loki couldn't beat Secret Invasion, that would just be embarrassing. I mean, Secret Invasion, that's just like the lowest of the low. You gotta be better than that at least. Yeah, Natanya doesn't trust these numbers either. Okay, Alex is waiting to binge. Crystal says, I watched half and fell asleep, but my mom watched most. She said it was meh. I am curious to see, like, is Loki really appealing outside of the hardcore MCU fandom? Like, I guess I still consider myself to be a part of that fan base because I still care enough to watch all this stuff, or at least give it a try. But I think the amount of people who are at least willing to give Marvel a try for, like, one episode, like I am, I think the size of that audience is shrinking. I'm really curious to see if, like, just the casual person even cares about this show. I kind of feel like they don't, and that's why I'm suspecting there's a large drop-off in audience between Season 1 and Season 2. Because just looking at the numbers and comparing what we've got, apples to apples, it's not looking good. We'll find out, like, for sure in a few weeks once we'll get Nielsen numbers, and I'm so curious. So curious to see what Loki actually did. Because I have a feeling it's not going to sound nearly as good as they're trying to make it sound. Yellow Umbrella says people are definitely going to hate watch the Marvels. Are people going to hate watch the Marvels? People couldn't even be bothered to hate watch The Flash. I feel like even people, like, The Flash was just hated on. Sorry. The Flash was just hated on so much online that it didn't even get enough people to want to hate watch it. It still flopped badly in theaters. So I don't know if that alone will get the Marvels to be a hit. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people, or I don't know about a lot of people, but there's some people who are just still hoping that the Marvels will pull out some sort of surprise big success and will prove all the haters wrong. And that's a very nice sentiment. But I really do think that movie is, like, dead on arrival. I think that movie is not going to do well at all. Joshua Munn says the Marvels is going to flop. It looks so bad. Yeah, I think it will. I mean, if they can't even get people to tune into Loki, how are they going to get people to tune into the Marvels? Anthony says you hate watch She-Hulk. You know what? I did hate watch She-Hulk. It didn't start off as hate watching. I gave it a fair try, but it was just so, I don't know, watching She-Hulk was watching a really entertaining boxing fight where, like, both people are just getting, like, ravaged. Like, it's horrible, but you can't look away because it's so entertaining. That's kind of what She-Hulk was like. Alexander! Oh my gosh, Alexander Padilla, you are always so kind, always supporting the channel. Really appreciate the super chat. Hey Brittany, I have not watched a single Star Wars or Marvel show, I even turned off WandaVision after one episode. As always, keep up the great work. Alexander, oh my gosh. You're sitting here watching me go over these shows you've never even watched. I really appreciate you. You're really kind. Thank you, Alexander. Yellow Umbrella says, my science teacher is watching Loki, so that's fun. I feel like this is the kind of show science teachers would like, especially because it's got a lot of, like, science and history a part of it. But anyway, we'll find out in a few weeks how well the show is actually doing, but I just suspect that it's not doing well at all. I think this is a huge, huge sham. But anyway, moving on. Yes. So we're getting the first trailer for Inside Out 2 next month. Are you guys actually excited for this? I think it's been a long, long time since the first Inside Out. I think the first Inside Out came out in 2015. So by next year, it'll have been 9 years since 2015. That's a long time between, movies. And Pixar's kind of on a bit of a down streak. Yes, Elemental made a comeback, but the reason why everyone thought it was a flop at the start is because no one was interested in that movie until people said it was good, which means people aren't just rushing out to see any Pixar movie just because it's Pixar anymore. So, do you think this movie has a chance at actually being a hit for Pixar? Do you think this could be like Pixar's biggest hit in years? Because I actually think there's a chance that it could. I think it, because it's been so long since the first movie, like, the people who were little kids when that film came out are now, like, teenagers now. So I think this will be for them, because I think the sequel's supposed to be about Riley going through high school and being a teenager and going through puberty and all that. So that will fit with the audience that were kids when the first one came out. So I think this actually has a chance of being a big hit. What do you guys think? Alex says, I am my kids not so much. They said they don't care. Oh no. They are 12 and 9. Only me and my wife. Interesting. I would be curious to see if this is the kind of movie that really appeals more towards adults and less towards kids. The funny thing is that both Pixar and Disney Animation are just generally having that problem where it's like Disney adults and like childless millennials are watching their stuff and caring about it more than the kids that like the stuff is meant for. I would be very curious to see if that happened to Inside Out as well. No stop, I love Inside Out, not a sequel. Yeah, I mean, maybe the sequel could be good. I think Pixar has made some good sequels. Not all of them have been good, but they have made some good sequels. So maybe this will be one of them. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, I found it funny that Pixar is releasing a trailer for Inside Out, but DreamWorks can't release a single trailer for the Kung Fu Panda 4 movie. I think the Kung Fu Panda 4 movie, I think that has a really good chance of being a huge hit as well, also because of nostalgia. It's been so long since the last Kung Fu Panda movie that those kids are also older now. So I think they don't really need a huge marketing push for that. I think that's a movie that's going to sell itself. Robert Bell, oh, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm excited to see some new emotions pop up. What other emotions do teenage girls have? It's going to be interesting. Well, like I said, I think they're going to be covering Riley, like, going through puberty, so maybe she starts dating. That could be interesting. I wonder if they introduce, like, any sort of relationship that has to do with dating. That could be interesting. Also a minefield in today's political landscape, especially for Disney. So, very curious to see how they straddle that line. Wanda says, I would check out a sequel to Inside Out. They could do a lot with these issues adults face. Yes, that's very true. That's why I think these kind of movies actually appeal more for, like, an older crowd, just because, I don't know, especially the first Inside Out kind of deals with, like, very real adult emotions and, like, how to process your feelings, like, in a way that I feel like probably goes over the head of really, really young kids. Like, I don't know, I kind of felt like the first Inside Out movie did play a little older. Marilyn Cherry says, I don't think teenagers are into animation movies, as this movies are seen as children's movies, especially if they associate the IP with their childhood. That could be true. Honestly, I don't think teenagers care for Western animation. I think they like Eastern animation. I think they like anime and a lot of what's coming out of there. And you know what's funny? A lot of the Western animation that has been hitting is stuff that tries to mimic Eastern animation. Like Avatar The Last Airbender. It tries to look anime. Even, what's it called? Why am I drawing a blank? I love this show. Arcane. Arcane. Even Arcane kind of has like a it's not definitely not anime, but it has like a different art style that just doesn't look like the traditional Western art style. It definitely makes itself look different. So I feel like anything that again has that Cal Arts look that is too heavily associated with Western animation, I think you're right. People are starting to turn away from that, but Eastern animation I think is thriving. In fact, I think that's growing in interest. Yeah, the new Ghibli movie does look really good. I'm actually excited to see it. Joshua Munn says, if Mindy Kaling and Bill Hader and Louis Black don't return, that's a huge Pixar L. That's true. There are a lot of voice actors that aren't returning. Mindy Kaling, I don't care, as you know. But the rest, like, yeah, I don't know. I know Amy Poehler is returning, and the woman who voices Sadness is also returning. But I think everyone else, for the most part, is getting recast, so I don't know. That is going to be a huge bummer. So they're going to have to replace them with a lot of new emotions. So I'm curious to see what emotions Riley gets. Very curious. But anyway, moving on. Okay, Little Joe's Animations thought it was balanced. I do love Inside Out. I think it's a good movie. But moving on. So now we're finally getting to DC. Oh man. Don't I talk about DC like at least once a week at this point? Talking about something crazy they're doing now. DC continues to be a mess forever and always until the end of time. I don't know what's going to change them. I don't know what's going to change it. Here's the thing. The craziest part about all of this is that DC had the most popular superhero movies, or the most popular superhero characters for the longest time. Yet they've continuously fumbled the bag over and over again, that they let Marvel take like F-tier characters and make them B or A-list. And it's just embarrassing. Like, how do you fumble Superman, but Marvel can make Guardians of the Galaxy work? You know? Like, it's always been embarrassing. And you thought maybe, or at least I thought, when they announced that James Gunn was going to take over, and that there was going to be a new change in leadership, that maybe, just maybe, we'd finally get people in charge who knew what they were doing. And that maybe, we'd get positive change. But I've been very skeptical of James Gunn. He's been making a lot of wishy-washy statements, promising that, like, some people will stay, some people will leave, that it's not going to be a complete reboot, it's going to be a soft reboot, and I think that's a mistake. But today it sounds like there is a new development that I actually think is very, very positive, and I think a step in the right direction. So we're going to get to more DC drama eventually, but let's start with the positive first. So the positive is that apparently they are confirming right now that none of the original Justice League stars will return or reprise their roles in James Gunn's new DC universe. So that means all of these characters here will get recast. No Gal Gadot, no Jason Momoa as Aquaman, which is interesting because Aquaman 2 comes out in just a couple months. This movie is officially just a lame duck movie. It's not gonna get a sequel. There's nothing, everyone knows going into it that there's nothing coming out of it because he's getting recast. In fact, they said they want to keep Jason Momoa around, but they want him to play Lobo, which is another character. So you might still see Jason Momoa. He's just not gonna actually be Aquaman anymore. So I think that's interesting. Could be kind of confusing for the average moviegoer, but I like Jason Momoa, so I'm happy that he's sticking around. But what do you guys think about all of this? Are you happy that they're recasting everyone and letting everyone go? I mean, including Ezra Miller, which I think is a no-brainer. I think it's crazy that it took until just now to announce that they're finally getting rid of Ezra Miller. But yeah, I think this is much needed. I think they just need a clean start. I am angry for all of us. Joshua Munn says, what a disjointed mess. Henry Cavill Superman just appeared in Black Adam, and Ben Affleck, Ezra Miller, Gal Gadot, and Jason Momoa were in The Flash. But nope, screw them all, they just are all gone. Okay, so Joshua Munn is very much not happy. Okay. I mean, a lot of fans really liked Henry Cavill. I feel like if you were gonna do a soft reboot, if you didn't want to commit fully, why not keep the stuff that the fans really liked? Why are you, like, keeping Peacemaker? And no offense, because I love Viola Davis, she's my favorite actress, but why are you keeping Waller? But you got rid of, like, the Justice League? Huh? How does this make any sense? If you were gonna keep anyone, why not keep, like, Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill? If you're gonna keep anyone, you should have kept at least some of these that did work. It doesn't make any sense. It should have just been all or nothing. Just cut everyone or nothing at all. Like, just it should have been a clean reboot. It should have been a clean reboot. Now it's just messy, and you're gonna have fans that are gonna be pissed off because they're always gonna be asking, why in the world is Peacemaker here, but Henry Cavill isn't? And James Gunn is never gonna have a good answer for that because there is no good answer. Wanda says, honestly, I don't think many of the DC actors are A-list anyway. No, none of them are. Although I think Jason Momoa has been doing a lot outside of DC. I think he has the best chance out of a career after this. I think the rest are... Or maybe... I know Ben Affleck, obviously, he had a big career before DC, but we'll see. I feel like Ben Affleck's more... Like, he's more of a celebrity. He's known for being, like, famous more than people are interested in his work now. At least I think so. But yeah, I just think it's frustrating. I wouldn't care this much if it weren't for the fact that they were actually keeping certain people. It just makes no sense. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, but imagine if they made a live-action Teen Titans movie. Maybe they will, who knows? Yellow Umbrella says, who's your fan cast? Well, I mean, I'm curious to see what this new Corn Sweat guy is. They have recast Superman already. Curious to see what he does. No idea about the rest, though. Honestly, they should have just kept Robert Pattinson as their Batman. I think it's stupid that they're going to try to find another Batman. Like, I know people love their Batman, but I think there can be too many Batmans. I mean, going from Ben Affleck to Michael Keaton for some reason to, Robert Pattinson to yet another Batman, like, just, what are they doing? What are they doing? Burning Daylighter says they need to fire James Gunn because this is a mess. And he hasn't even done anything, which is the funniest part. I think the reason why everyone's... And the funny thing is, at first, the only people who were calling for James Gunn to be fired were mainly just, like, Snyder's fans, like Zack Snyder's fans, because they were just angry that he took, the role they think Zack Snyder should have. But now I'm slowly starting to see, like, more and more people being like, you know what, maybe James Gunn should be fired. And he hasn't really even done anything yet. It's just everything he says online, how he constantly contradicts himself, how he answers questions by not really answering them, by, like, frustrating people. He's too afraid to make fans upset, so he doesn't commit to things, but it makes it, like, more complicated and confusing for people because now we're trying to piece together what this new DCU is, and we have no clear picture because he can't give a clear answer. And it's just I think it's already doomed. If this new Superman movie that he's making is actually good and is actually a hit, because even if this movie is really good, it could still flop. People are just they're just so over DC. Even if this movie is really good, this movie could still flop. But if this movie actually manages to do well and, like, can restart a whole new DC universe, I will be hella impressed. Because he has mountains to climb. Mountains. Molehills. He has a lot to do is what I'm trying to say. And everything that he has done so far tells me he is not up to the job. So, the only thing that's giving me any hope is that he is a much better director than he is an executive so far. So at least there's a chance I know he can make a good movie. I just don't know if his executive antics will allow that movie to be a hit. So we'll see. Anise says, aren't they working on a new Margot Harley movie? I haven't heard that or seen that, or I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think Margot Robbie should go back to DC. I mean, after Barbie was a huge hit, I think that she should just go on and, like, do better stuff. she can clearly do better than DC. She already has, so I don't understand why Margot would want to go back to DC. Oh, Jordan says, I don't have hope in DC. Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you do have hope in DC, I think it's just because you're a really big fan and you want them to succeed. Because where else would you get hope from? Rhea Lynn says, time will tell if James Gunn's plan will go off. I know, time will tell. I just think he's making a lot of the same bad decisions the last team was making. So it doesn't really seem that much different. Rachel says, DC are fools for not doing a Harley Ivy movie with Margot right now. I would watch a Harley Ivy movie. Who would you guys want to be Ivy? I would love Karen Gillan to be Ivy. She's not in DC, right? No. Karen Gillan would be a good Ivy. Or, Sophie Turner. Sophie Turner could be a good Ivy. Who else would you want to be Ivy? Joshua Munn says, James Gunn just wants a Marvel DC crossover. It's all he can talk about. Just do that instead of this nonsense. Is he still talking about a Marvel DC crossover? I know he mentioned it once. I haven't heard him keep talking about it. If he is still talking about it, it's because he thinks DC and Marvel are both desperate enough and at a low point enough that they need to do it. Because that's the only reason that they would ever need to do a crossover, is if they're both desperate enough. So he must be desperate if he truly, truly wants that. Isaac Gonzalez as Poison Ivy, Latina representation. Oh, I like that. Okay. I know Karen Gillan is in Marvel. I was just trying to see if she was also in DC. But I think she's done as Nebula now. Like, I'm pretty sure the Guardians are done, so I think Karen could cross over, especially since she's already worked with Gunn. Olivia Cook. Oh, that's a good one. Olivia Cook as Poison Ivy. Oh, I love that. I just don't know if can she pull off the red hair? I don't know if she can pull off the red hair, but I would love that. I'm a big Olivia Cook fan. But anyway, I think this DC stuff is a nightmare, and it keeps getting worse, because now let's talk about the Aquaman 2 drama. So, what's going on with Aquaman 2? Well, it's not looking good. Not only is this movie a lame duck film, because we already know that there's no chance for a sequel, because they're not moving forward with Jason Momoa as Aquaman, because they're rebooting the whole universe, so this movie is just coming out because they already made it, but they have no plans to continue it, so there's already that going against it. But on top of that, now there's this whole, Variety article that just came out. That was this whole expose about how toxic the set apparently was, and there's a lot of he said, she said going around. I actually did read part of the article, so there's more to it than it seems. I'm going to go into it. I actually think, I don't know, I think Jason Momoa is being painted unfairly here, but we'll see. So apparently Jason Momoa allegedly came to set of Aquaman 2 drunk and reportedly was dressed as Johnny Depp. He also tried to get Amber Heard fired from the movie, but Elon Musk, who used to date Amber Heard, can you believe Elon Musk found his way into even DC drama? How in the world is Elon Musk a part of everything? But anyway, Elon Musk had a litigator threaten to burn the house down if Amber Heard didn't get to return. So it seems like the only reason that Amber Heard got to return to the sequel in the first place is because Elon Musk threatened the studio to keep her around. Again, how in the world did Elon Musk get a part of all of this? I have no idea. But he finds him. If there's drama, Elon Musk is gonna find it. But anyway. So the reason why I think this kind of makes Jason Momoa look a little bad is because if you actually read the article, according to his spokespeople and other sources or whatever, they claim that Jason never showed up to set drunk, and that he never intentionally dressed up like Johnny Depp. He just shares a similar style to him that they consider to be bohemian. So he never intentionally tried to, dress up as Johnny Depp to intimidate Amber Heard or anything. That's just his style. Now, I don't know if he actually did show up to set drunk or not. He's saying he didn't. But, like I said, it's a lot of he said, she said. We don't actually know. But I think what this article is trying to hint at is that there was just a lot of, like, drama around this movie, drama behind the set, just drama in general. I mean, what is new for DC, really? All they know is drama. But what do you guys think about all this? I want to hear your opinions. Nicholas says, yup, sounds like Elon Musk's desire for us to never be able to avoid him anywhere we go or turn. Right? Right? Like, how? I'm talking about superheroes and I still have to talk about Elon Musk. Like, how? The couch potato says, Elon Musk is the Borg and is trying to assimilate everyone. No, don't say that. Elon Musk is the kingpin of our world. You know what? Elon Musk definitely thinks he's the main character, for sure. Dude definitely thinks he's the main character. Oh, Riolin thinks he's a psycho. Interesting. You know what? He probably is. Not probably, he definitely is. Lucario Mew says, during the Depp versus Heard trial, a lot of the stuff on Elon came out. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Elon's and Amber Heard's relationship was also weird, but it also seems like they at least ended on a lot friendlier terms, because it seems like Elon helped Amber Heard a lot through that trial and, like, maybe even helped pay a lot of her legal fees and lawyer fees and all that stuff. So if there's any, I guess, positive about Elon, it's kind of that he tried to help her at least, but I just think it's weird that he's a part of this at all. Like, why am I talking about Aquaman 2, but for some reason I also now have to talk about Elon Musk? Like, why? Yellow Umbrella says Musk or Zuckerberg. I don't like either of them. Why do I have to choose? I'm gonna say Zuckerberg, because at least Zuckerberg is very transparent about who he is. Whereas I think Musk genuinely thinks he is, like I said, he thinks he's the main character. He thinks he can just do anything because he is the shit. Elon Musk has no self-awareness because his narcissism can't see it. So I'm gonna have to go with Zuckerberg, although they both have their problems. The couch potato says, I really wanted that fight. I know, I wanted that fight between Elon Musk and Zuckerberg so bad. Oh, I wanted that so bad. Even though I knew it wasn't gonna happen because I knew Elon Musk was gonna wuss out. Apparently, did you guys see that Elon Musk's mom was on Twitter, like, saying how much she didn't want Elon Musk to go up against Mark Zuckerberg because she was afraid her son was gonna get hurt and that she was calling off the fight? Why do I feel like this fight didn't happen because Elon Musk's mom said no? I feel like that definitely is what happened. The couch potato says Zuckerberg makes better faces than Musk. That's crazy, because Zuckerberg is known for not having a lot of facial expression. So, I mean, it's like the fight of the two, the two tech billionaires. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, also because of Elon Musk, I can't get access to my Twitter because it's been suspended. Well, you've been suspended. Oh, no. I mean, honestly, I've been using, like, other apps a lot more. I've been trying to use Twitter less just because it's become such a just toxic place to be. So, you can find other things to do. But anyway, I do want to get to the member question. Again, if you want to be a member, all you have to do is press the join button at the bottom of the screen. It does support the channel, so I would really appreciate it. And I asked my members, how do you feel about the fact that all of the Justice League characters are basically going to have to get recast now? And of course, as always, it got a lot of great comments, so thank you everyone for commenting. Just making sure everyone can see. Yep, okay. Kisaki says, it's good that they are replacing all of them instead of some actors. I think it wouldn't sit well with people if they kept one actor then replaced the rest. But that is what they're doing. They're keeping Peacemaker, Waller, and basically most of the Suicide Squad, which could even include Harley Quinn, even though I don't think Margot Robbie should come back. They could bring her back because that's part of what he wants to keep. He wants to keep his version of the Suicide Squad. So I'm just like, I don't understand why you're picking and choosing. It just seems like Gunn is only keeping the people that he likes and the characters he's already worked with before he took over. And that just seems like he's playing favorites. So of course he's going to make fans mad. I still think Henry and Gal were top-notch picks for their superhero roles. I agree. Overall, I hope they will pick non-problematic actors for both main and side characters. Like, I swear the Warner Brothers deliberately casted abusers and cult leaders for their movies. Right? Right? Okay, Marvel has been going on now for like well over 10 years. They've been doing this now for 15. Yeah, it's been 15 years this year since 2008 when the first Iron Man movie came out. So Marvel's been doing this now for 15 years. And I know there has been some problematic actors, like they have Jonathan Majors. They had to recast War Machine, so they're not batting like 0% rate. But compared to like DC, just like how many actors wound up being like super problematic versus like Marvel with significantly more movies, it does seem very strange that DC ended up having like so many actors that had problems and controversies around them where Marvel hasn't. Like, what it is about the casting process for DC that has seemed to have seeked out like the most toxic, controversial people. It's very strange, especially when DC has significantly less movies than Marvel and significantly less actors. So it just seems strange to me. Burning Daylighter says, it's James Gunn and friends. It's all self-serving and narcissistic. I thought we got over that with Dwayne Johnson. Honestly, I think I would have preferred the Dwayne Johnson DC universe over this James Gunn DC universe. I don't know if it would have been good, but I don't know if James Gunn's is going to be good. I just think it would have been less confusing because Dwayne Johnson is too much of a people pleaser, and he at least wanted to keep Henry Cavill around, so DC fans probably would have been a lot happier. Rachel Reed's Romance says, I'm sad we're losing Gal Gadot, but overall I think this gives the DCU a better chance at succeeding during this reboot. They still have a lot to overcome besides casting. Oh yes, I think they have to overcome the perception that they suck. The general public thinks that DC movies are terrible. That's why they don't go see them, and that's why they almost always rate them poorly when they do. Like, I forgot how many movies in a row, but the past several DC movies in a row have all been, like, getting cinema scores in the B range, and if you know what cinema scores are, they're a measurement of how much the audience really likes a movie, and, like, DC movies consistently have been getting really terrible audience scores. Even Blue Beetle, even though I liked that one, audiences still didn't care for it. So they just need to change the perceptions that their movies suck. That's like the number one thing DC's got to do. The Legendary Movie Critic, thank you so much for being a member. I think it's the right move to make so that the DCU can be a complete reset for DC with new actors and actresses. However, it's a shame that Warner Brothers messed up a Justice League movie so badly with this cast when it could have been on the same level as the Avengers. That's a great point, Josh. I mean, look at this cast. This was actually, I think, a pretty good, solid cast for the Justice League. And they squandered it. Other than Ezra Miller, who I always thought was questionable casting even before Ezra's antics, I thought the rest was actually, like, pretty good casting. I was actually excited to see, what they could have done with this. But then we saw the movie. And we saw Batman v Superman. And we saw the Suicide Squad. And it just all went downhill from there. I mean, they had so much potential. Look at this cast. It was all there. Crystal Clark says the interview for DC is like this. Are you problematic? Oh, no, normal. Choose wisely. It depends on it. Right? I mean, what were they doing with their casting process for DC? It's crazy. Like, just the rate of problematic actors they have over there is just hilarious to me. But anyway, Brienne Solis says, it is the right call because two of the former cast are involved in drama, although I will miss Henry Cavill as Superman. It would be exciting to see him as an antagonist again after watching Mission Impossible Fallout. He was amazing as a bad guy. Oh yeah, I think Henry Cavill is a good I don't know if he's a good actor. He's good at playing a bad guy. He's good at, flexing his muscles and playing the macho man. He was really good in Mission Impossible Fallout. Honestly, I wish he could have just, kept doing the Mission Impossible movies. I think he's better at that than he was Superman, but you can't deny how popular he was in the role. Because even though I thought, you know, he wasn't my Superman, he was clearly very popular. Real Lynn, thank you so much for being a member, says, overall a good call, but the interest in comic book movies has been dwindling, so who knows how much this will help. Honestly, the only positivity I've heard from DC has been their animated films and TV shows. If anything, maybe DC should focus their efforts there. I've seen that a lot. A lot of people say that DC's animated shows are a lot better than their live action. But if that's true, why don't more people watch the animated stuff? Again, this is why I think Western animation's really falling off. People aren't interested in it unless, like, Japan did it. Alexander Padilla, thank you so much for being a member, says, I'm sad that Ben Affleck or Gal Gadot won't be returning, but I understand with Gal Gadot because she was amazing as Wonder Woman. She's a terrible actress outside from other movies I've seen. We need and deserve a whole reboot. Sending love, Brittany from the Redlands, California. Thank you so much, Alexander, and sending love back. Yeah, I liked Gal Gadot. I really do. I think that she's a weak actor outside of Wonder Woman, but I think she's able to make Wonder Woman so much her own that I think her weaknesses as an actress, she can actually leverage as a strength in Wonder Woman. At least she did in the first Wonder Woman movie. I thought the first Wonder Woman movie was actually really good. I think that's not just one of my favorite superhero movies, but it's like one of my favorite movies in general. I really love that movie. And I thought she was really good in it. So I think she can be good if she just has, the right role and right direction. But I think she'll be fine. I think maybe her and Jason Momoa will probably have the most success after DC, but we'll see. Mary Lynn Cherry says, I still feel bad for Gal Gadot and won't forget how they treated her. They really did treat her dirty. Like, they promised Gal that they were going to keep her, but they lied to her face, and by they, I mean James Gunn. He, basically straight up lied to her face about it. I feel like that's very messed up. So yeah, not only did they just kind of get rid of her, didn't even let her complete her trilogy, but they also, lied that they wanted to keep working with her when they didn't. So yeah, they treated her very dirty. Hannah says Gal Gadot was bad in almost everything else. Yeah, I mean, she's not an amazing actress. I don't think she's, the worst, but, I think she can be good in the right role. RuPaul's Drag Race fan says, yes, but in the end, I don't think it will work. DCEU has too much of a bad reputation, and people gonna be confused if he used some of the same actors as different characters. DCEU is doomed. They need to stick to Batman, and that's it. But if they just stick to Batman, are people gonna get bored of that? I already feel like there's too many Batmans. People are gonna get Batmaned out, right? Josh Loves Movie says Gal Gadot deserved a way better run as Wonder Woman. And she could have had it. If you told me after the first Wonder Woman movie that there would not be, the trilogy would not be complete, they would just stop after the second one, I would not have believed you, because everyone loved the first one, and it was such a huge hit. So it's crazy to me that the second one was so bad, and to be honest with you, the second one was really bad. 1984 is genuinely a terrible movie, but it's just crazy to me that it took one movie to completely derail all of the positive goodwill that the first Wonder Woman movie had, because there was so much goodwill, and then 1984 happened and just completely ruined it. Danny says, I think it's a good move, but it's not going to help. Hero fatigue isn't going to go away just because you got new actors. That's also a good point. Do you think any of this will even matter? Even if James Gunn can reboot things and can cast new good actors, do you think people are going to care by the time we even get a new Justice League movie out? I mean, people already have so much superhero fatigue as is. How are people going to care 5 years from now when we still have so much Marvel and other comic book stuff ready to go? Maybe people won't care. Maybe none of this matters at all. What do you guys think? And he says DC should do Batman Beyond with Terry McGinnis. Don't know about that one. Folklore says, I think they should stop with the DCEU and just reboot the characters on their own and not connect it. Okay. So you think they should reboot but not have a connected universe? Maybe. Maybe like they could just do with like what they're doing with the Joker and Batman or the Batman where they just have like their own individual movie franchises. You could do that. Honestly, maybe they should because they're very bad at trying to do the whole connected thing. Little Joe's Animation, thank you so much for being a member, says, from what I understand about the state of DC, this is like a baby step of fixing their mess. It is a baby step. It is a small baby step, but we'll see if the baby step leads anywhere. I'm not sure yet. And Jordan Davis says, if DC wants to get their act together, I think it's a good idea in the name of progress. Like I said, it is small progress, but I'm just not sure if it's going to be enough. Thank you everyone for being a member. Again, all of your comments are great. They're always great. You guys know what you're talking about. Just honestly, you guys give some really like insightful, great stuff. So thank you for commenting. Thank you for being a member. And I just really appreciate it. All right. So I do want to get to AI news. This is the last topic I have for today, and then that's the end of the stream. Because the AI news is very, very important. Because, as we've been talking about these strikes with the writers and the actors, one of the main things both groups are fighting over is AI and the use of it. And writer George R.R. Martin, who's most known for writing and creating the Game of Thrones series, he is suing the creator of ChagtGPT, OpenAI, which is the company behind it, because he claims that someone used ChagtGPT to finish the Game of Thrones series. So if you don't know, if you're not familiar with Game of Thrones, the show has completely finished, but the book series actually only goes up to the final book and then it stops. Like, people are still waiting for George R.R. Martin to actually release his final book. And the show had to completely make up the ending because the book wasn't ready yet, which is why a lot of people don't like the ending. And so someone used ChagtGPT to write the last book instead because they're tired of waiting for George R.R. Martin to do it. And that's why he's suing, because he's like, you obviously trained your AI model on my books, so clearly here's evidence that you did it because someone was able to write a whole Game of Thrones novel using your service that you trained on my stuff. So that's why he's suing them. And I think this is a huge, huge issue. Apparently the person who did write the book, they dropped it because George R.R. Martin named them in the lawsuit. But the fact that this is happening at all is a huge deal. And the results of this lawsuit could have huge ramifications on how AI is used in regards with copyright and, protecting IP. So this has a lot of ramifications for the industry, and however this lawsuit comes out, and there are several other lawsuits like it. Right now, Hollywood's trying to figure out what to do about copyright in the midst of all this AI stuff, and this is just one wrinkle in all of that. And I just think that this story is very, very interesting. What do you guys think about all this? Real Lynn says, honestly, Martin will probably die before he finishes Game of Thrones, and someone will be hired to complete it. I hope he does get to finish it. I hope that's like his magnum opus, his swan song. He finishes the book at least. I hope he gets to complete it. I really do. He's taking his sweet time, though. He doesn't seem to be rushing. Robert Ball says, if he didn't take his sweet time writing it, he wouldn't be in this situation. I like how, Robert, you have no sympathy. You're just like, well, desperate times come for desperate measures. If you aren't going to write the book, someone's got to do it. Alright, that's funny. Hi, Fod Fareed. Edward says, I didn't know there was a last book coming. I thought the series was finished. No, it's almost finished. There's still one more book to go. That's why everyone didn't like the finale of Game of Thrones, because they had to make it up. There was no book to base it off of. The Couch Potato says, our laws are not ready for AI issues. No, they are not. I think our copyright laws are going to have to be completely rewritten because of AI. I don't even know what we're going to do, to be honest. Again, that's why all these lawsuits are important, because the results of lawsuits create precedents, and that's how we can form laws. Because right now there are no laws around most of this stuff. That's why OpenAI and ChagtGPT are able to get away with this stuff, because all of this is so new. There's no laws against it. So I'm very curious to see how this all shakes out. Yeah, we gotta update these laws fast. The funny thing is, a couple of months ago, they had the main guy, Sam Altman of OpenAI, testifying in front of Congress, saying like AI is a danger, AI is a threat, trying to tell them like, you guys need to start thinking about updating these laws, and they were all just like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh wow, okay. Well, we'll think about it, and then they did nothing about it because our Congress, most of the people there, are still figuring out how to use a printer. So, we're having to deal with that. So, Alex says AI will make AI laws. Oh God, are we gonna have artificial intelligence write its own laws? Oh, that just sounds like a crazy dystopian movie to me. Joshua Munn says they asked Martin how the series was supposed to end, basically, and they went from there. They should have just taken hiatus until his book came out. The thing is, though, he had a long time to finish his book. It's not like the show just caught up to him and he couldn't finish it in time before the show had to end. No. He had finished his previous book like seasons before the show ended. Like, he could have finished it before the show ended. He just hasn't gotten around to it. Word says our freedom of speech and social media shadow ban is messed up. Need laws on that. We need laws on a lot of stuff. There's still like laws around the internet in its current form that I feel like we need to make, and we haven't made them yet. So we'll see what happens with AI laws, because I don't know when they're coming or if they're coming. But anyway, that was the last thing I wanted to talk about today. So that was the whole hour. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to the show. I really appreciate it. This was another good show. We are going to have another show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do want to tell you guys, though, on Friday, I will not be having a show because I told you guys a while ago that I was moving. Well, I'm actually moving this weekend. So I need Friday to get all my stuff packed together and ready because I'm moving this weekend. So no show on Friday, but I will have a show Wednesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. as normal. But I just wanted to give you guys that update. So anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. This was a lot of fun, and I'll see you then.